Hello and welcome to the second part of the C tutorial on understanding complex sentences. In this series, we talk about some techniques that can be used in analyzing, understanding, and translating complex English sentences. If you have not watched the previous video, you can watch it on YouTube at this address. In the first video, we talked about the importance of some words such as conjunctions, adverbs, and transition words in understanding complex sentences. In this video, we are going to look at a complex English sentence and try to use what we learned in the first video in practice. I'm going to give you some time to look at this sentence and try to understand what it is saying. Feel free to press the pause button on your player, take your time and read the sentence. Try to see what the structure of the sentence is and what it is trying to say. As you can see, this is not a normal sentence. It is not a sentence that you usually see in your textbooks. It looks like it is a paragraph, but in fact it is a sentence that begins with the word therefore and ends in the word urbanization. Understanding such a sentence is extremely difficult because it is made of many different parts. What makes a sentence complicated is the number of parts that it has. So in order to understand such a sentence, it is very important to identify these parts and to understand which parts are more important and which parts are less important in understanding the central meaning of the sentence. Now let's take a look at the beginning of the sentence. As you can see, this sentence begins with the word therefore. In our last video, we talked about the importance of transition words. We said that transition words are words that connect a sentence to the previous sentence and tell us about the type of connection the two sentences have. So we can say that this sentence is the conclusion of the previous sentence. We also said that transition words are not part of the grammatical structure of the sentence. Therefore, we can omit a transition word temporarily in order to understand the structure of the sentence better. Another important word here is economically. Economically is an adverb, and in our last video we said that adverbs make understanding the structure of the sentence difficult. So, like transition words, we temporarily omit adverbs in order to make understanding the structure easier, and then we return the adverb to the sentence to complete the meaning of the sentence. So we are going to imagine that the words therefore and economically do not exist in this sentence. The beginning of the sentence for us is the word for. As you can see, the part which begins with the word for and ends with the word of is separated from the rest of the sentence by a comma. When we see a comma that is separating the beginning of the sentence from the rest of the sentence, we understand this part is either providing extra information or is a subordinate clause. In any case, the meaning is not complete and it relies on the rest of the sentence for its meaning. Therefore, we are going to separate this part from the rest of the sentence. The first step in understanding the meaning of a complex English sentence is identifying the conjunctions. So in the beginning, we are going to practice finding and analyzing coordinating conjunctions, and then we are going to see how understanding coordinating conjunctions may help us understand the meaning of a complex English sentence. Now let's get back to the subject of conjunctions. In this sentence, we have 5 coordinating conjunctions. I have chosen all of them the same, so understanding them would be easier. But whatever we say about the word and is also true about the other coordinating conjunctions such as or and but. Let's take a look at the first one. The word that comes after the word and is economically, but this word is now invisible to us. So the word that comes after and is better off, which is an adjective. In fact, it is a comparative adjective. The word that comes before the word and is more successful. More successful is also a comparative adjective. Therefore, the coordinating conjunction and is connecting the two words more successful and better off. Therefore, according to our last video, it is a small conjunction. Let me remind you from the first video that we have 3 types of coordinating conjunctions. The first type is the small coordinating conjunction, similar to the one that we just discussed. A small coordinating conjunction is able to connect 2 single words with each other. These words can be 2 nouns, 2 adjectives, or 2 adverbs. In any case, they should be parallel or similar to each other. A medium-sized coordinating conjunction is able to connect larger structures. Now, these larger structures can be phrases, such as prepositional phrases or noun phrases, or they can be subordinate clauses. In any case, the structures connected by a medium conjunction do not have a complete meaning. Therefore, they rely on the rest of the sentence for their meaning to become complete. Now, let's move on to the next conjunction. The word after and is smoking. The word before it is alcohol. Smoking and alcohol don't seem to have the same grammatical structure. We move back in the sentence to see if we can find a better word that can be parallel with smoking. The first word we encounter is drinking. Drinking and smoking are both gerunds and are grammatically parallel. So the first side of this balance is drinking more alcohol, and the second side is smoking cigarettes. Normally, a coordinating conjunction that connects 2 items does not need a comma. But when such a conjunction connects more than 2 items, for example 3 or 4 items, it forms a series. The items in a series are separated by commas. The conjunction itself is used only once before the last item, and it is preceded by a comma. The next conjunction is different from the previous 2, and the difference is in the presence of a comma before and. When we have a comma before a coordinating conjunction, such as and, or, and but, this can have 2 meanings. The first is that this is a large conjunction. If you remember our last video, a large conjunction is a conjunction that is separating 2 complete and independent sentences. But when we look at the structure after and, leading a difficult and stressful life, we see that this is not a complete sentence. Therefore, this and cannot be a large conjunction. The other meaning is that this and is part of a series. Therefore, this and should be connecting more than 1 item, and these items are again parallel with each other. The word after and is leading. Now we have to move back in the sentence and see what other words we can find that are similar grammatically to leading. Also remember that in a series, the items are separated by commas. The first item that we encounter is drinking, and as you can see, drinking is preceded by a comma. The next item is adopting, again preceded by a comma. And the next one is abandoning. As you can see, firstly, we do not have any other ing words before abandoning, and secondly, there is no comma. Therefore, this should be the first item in this series. Urban lifestyles include 4 things. First, abandoning. Second, adopting. Third, drinking. And fourth, leading. You may have noticed that we did not count smoking as one of the items in this series. The reason is that firstly, it didn't have a comma before it, and secondly, as discussed before, smoking itself is part of another structure, drinking more alcohol and smoking cigarettes. Moving on to the next conjunction, we see that the word and is followed by the word stressful. Stressful is an adjective. The word before and is difficult, which is also an adjective. So similar to the first conjunction in this sentence, we have a small conjunction that is connecting 2 adjectives, difficult and stressful, to each other. If you remember from the first video, another condition in which a comma is necessary before the coordinating conjunction is when the conjunction is followed by an independent clause. Therefore, if you see a subject and a verb after your conjunction, but you do not see a subordinating conjunction, this means that the structure after your conjunction is independent, or it is a complete sentence. In this condition, a comma is necessary before your coordinating conjunction. What is a subordinating conjunction? This is a subject that we will talk about in the next video. The final conjunction in this sentence again has a comma before it. But this time, when we look at the structure after the conjunction, we see a subject and a verb. This means that this structure is a complete and independent sentence. So we have an example of a coordinating conjunction that is connecting a complete sentence to the previous sentence. Because this sentence can be treated separately, we are going to separate it from the rest of the sentence. As you can see, the word only is an adverb. And like the word economically, we are going to imagine that it does not exist. Now that we have identified the coordinating conjunctions in this sentence and analyzed the type of every conjunction and the grammatical structures that are connected by every conjunction, how you look at the sentence should be very different from how it was in the beginning. I am going to give you another chance to read the sentence. This time, the beginning and the end of the sentence have been separated. Transition words and adverbs have been omitted from the sentence. And we have talked about the different types of conjunctions that are used in this sentence and how the different parts are related to each other. Feel free to press the pause button on your player. Take your time, read the sentence again, and this time try to understand what the sentence means. I hope you have enjoyed watching the second C tutorial on understanding complex English sentences. In the next part, we are going to talk about clauses and also about subordinating conjunctions and their importance in writing and understanding complex English sentences. I hope to see you here next time. Goodbye.